Hey guys, thanks very much for joining us. I'm Stuart Calder. I'm VP for International Sales and Marketing here at Netready. As you know, Netready is dedicated to creating informative and rich content on the multi-level marketing space. For all of this content and all of this collateral, you can find us on our various channels. We've got our YouTube channel, which we'd love for you to subscribe to. Hit the button for the alerts every time we add new content. You'll see it as an alert coming up on your profile. We've also got our LinkedIn and our Facebook pages. All of this content is being displayed there, so we'd love for you to go and follow those pages. We've also got a Spotify channel for that of podcasting. So today, what we're going to be speaking about is that of how we leverage from the retail and e-commerce strategies into the multi-level marketing industry. We've got none other than Mr. Richard Sletcher with us today. Hey Richard.
How are you doing? It's so good to have you back, I have to say.
Oh, it's good to be back. I tell you, with all that's going on in this world at the moment, you know, we don't have to dive into that, but it's chaotic. And
it's insane.
To come back to the place that we call home, which is Netready House, is such a blessing to be here, especially in front of you, and we can be producing all this amazing content.
Yeah, no, it's exciting. I tried to do it while you were away, as you know, and that was just a disaster. So
well, you needed me.
We canned that.
Yeah.
Get started with it today. Yeah.
You needed me, I needed you. So
exactly.
This is a beautiful relationship. I love it. Okay, so it's good to be back in studio together. Love being here. What we're going to be talking about today. I mean, we want to understand, let's use some English there, this retail component. We've spoken about retail at length in a number of our other sessions, but we want to be focusing on that of e-commerce. What e-commerce is doing, what is e-commerce, what they are doing right, what they could be working on, and then what multi-level marketing is doing to enhance e-commerce.
Well, I think the key is how can we leverage all of the lessons that have been learned through traditional e-commerce for the multi-level marketing space. I mean, that's really what we want to look at, because there's obviously the guys who are doing e-commerce out there are being hugely effective and very successful. If you look at the top brands. So what are they doing, and how are they doing it, and why are they successful, and how can we leverage that knowledge within the MLM space? I think that's kind of primarily what I would like to talk about today.
That's exactly what I was going to ask.
Yeah.
Thank you for wordsmithing that so well. So let's speak about e-commerce. Let's speak about it. What is it? What is e-commerce?
Well, so basically e-commerce is a retail outlet where you can reach a large audience via an online store. Okay, I mean, that's basically what it is. Yeah. You know, in traditional retail, if I want to reach you, you have to be regionally located. So my store is in a region, you need to be fairly close to it because you need to be able to access the store. Now, what companies have done, obviously, have gone online, and so now suddenly they don't have just their little local catchment area. They now either have a regional, national, or even international catchment area, which they can market to. And so they can then take their products online, they market to a large group of people, and they can then distribute their products using fulfillment product processes like courier, etc.
Sure.
Yeah. So companies like, I mean, we buy a lot of our video gear from a company called B&H in New York.
Yes.
Now, we're sitting in Cape Town. Up until the e-commerce era, there's no ways you could buy from B&H because how would you do it?
Yeah.
But now I go online, I check out what I want, and I put in my order. They ship it to me in South Africa. I trust them, trusted name. And of course, the product arrives here. We've bought a lot of gear from them, and it's always been successful. So that's kind of an example of their reach. This little photographic and video store sitting in New York has now got this global reach. And I can tell you right now, people from all over the world buy from B&H.
Yes.
So that's kind of, they epitomize what a store that has got a speciality can actually do using the e-commerce route to market. So it's very powerful. I mean,
and how scalable is it?
Oh, infinitely scalable. As long as you can reach the client base and you've got the product to deliver, it's infinitely scalable, because nowadays the world is very small. I mean, you can ship a product to anywhere in the world. It doesn't cost a huge amount of money to get it in. And in fact, for a lot of products that I've bought from the UK or the US, I can get them cheaper in the UK ship them to South Africa, which is where we are, to Cape Town, including import duties and shipping and everything, it lands up being cheaper, substantially cheaper in South Africa than it would have been if I'd bought it from a local supplier.
Yeah.
So that just shows you the kind of reach, the kind of impact that those stores have. You know, obviously our thing is video equipment and musical equipment, but it could be anything.
Yeah.
You know?
Sure. And going into these new regions, how do we establish a footprint there with e-commerce? It's, you know, we're competing with the giants within the space. We already know that e-commerce is a diluted channel. I mean, there's something like 24 million e-commerce stores currently registered.
Is that a fact?
That's a fact.
Wow, I didn't know
24 million. You know, so you're competing.
That's the problem that you've got. Within the e-commerce space, you've got a lot of noise. So if you're a small company and you're coming into that space, how do you compete? How do you compete against Amazon or B&H or Gear for Music or any of these big e-commerce stores? Because they are advertising like crazy. The way that a normal e-commerce store gets their business is they advertise. They're on Facebook and they're on YouTube, and they try and catch your eyeballs by showing you their special offers or the products they've got, or you search for a product and they are spending crazy amounts of money on advertising to make sure that they're at the top of the list. So you search, for example, we've got Blackmagic cameras. You search for Blackmagic cameras, doesn't matter where you are in the world, B&H comes up on top. Now, in order to be on top, can you imagine the ad spend these guys have got? So now you're a small company. You come along and you say, well, I want to compete. I want to sell Blackmagic cameras as well. So I want to compete in this space. You've either got to have a big budget for advertising, or you basically don't get the eyeballs, because nobody's going to see you. You're going to be on page 5 or 10 or 15 or 20. And so when they come, as you know who goes past page 1 when you're searching for something.
Of course, yeah.
You know?
Everyone stays on page 1 of Google, and that's where you want to be.
And if you're not on page 1, you're nowhere.
Yeah.
And in order to be on page 1, the cost per click is just crazy high. So you've got to have excellent SEO in order to get your cost per click down. You've got to have incredibly good advertising on Google and Facebook, etc., and big budget spends to get the eyeballs. You've got to be prepared to pay a whack for every time somebody clicks on your link or sees your advert in order to compete. And so it becomes incredibly difficult to actually penetrate the noise to get people to buy from your store. So if you have a look at e-commerce stores that are coming up, most of them fail because they just cannot get the eyeballs. They don't have the budget to spend, and so they've got no way of getting the people to check out the products. They might have a fantastic product, incredible pricing, fantastic offer, reliable, great delivery. They could have all of that stuff, but if people don't know about them, they're sunk.
For sure.
So the big thing that the big problem that e-commerce stores are having is that they cannot get the eyeballs on their stores.
No, there's so much competition.
And that's it.
So
It's because of the competition.
Yeah.
But having said that, obviously the ones that are successful are doing a lot of stuff right.
Yeah.
So they've got the advertising budget. You know, a company like B&H probably spends $1 million a year, maybe $2 million, maybe $5 million. I don't know what their budget is, no idea, but they're probably spending millions every year on advertising and marketing online. Companies like Amazon, I don't even want to think about what their ad spend is. It must be in the billions. You know, I don't know. No idea. A friend of mine had an e-commerce store, and I remember going to his place, and he was spending 250,000 Rand a month on a little store here in Cape Town to advertise and market his products. So
what is that? That's $15,000.
Yeah, a month.
Wow.
So it's a substantial amount of money.
For a little business.
For a little business selling.
Just to compete, get the eyeballs onto his e-commerce sites.
Yeah.
Wow.
So, okay, we're successful with it.
Yeah.
He's in a very localized market, South Africa, which is a small space. And so that kind of ad spend in South Africa is quite high.
Yeah.
But if you're trying to compete on a global scale, you can forget about it. That kind of ad spend would be it wouldn't even feature. Yeah. But the thing is, there's other things that they're doing well. Once they've got the client, the customer, they know how to leverage every single cent out of that, can squeeze every cent out of that customer because they've got really slick mechanisms, that special offers, coupons, you know, great communication. I remember this friend of mine, we bought stuff from him, and then 2 months went by and we hadn't bought. Suddenly we got an email saying, hey, we see you haven't bought for a couple of months and we really want to come back and here's a coupon for X amount of rands. Come and check stuff out. You can buy a few things on our site, on us.
Yeah.
And they got us back into the site. And of course, you're shopping through the site and then you buy a whole bunch of other stuff. Special offers. We would get like special offers via email that he was having. So there's a lot of traditional retail strategies that he's using on his e-commerce site and that people like that are using to actually get you to re-engage with them over and over and over again and buy from them. The other thing that he did was quite clever is he had an auto ship product. So we bought some items from him that we needed to buy every month. And so we selected, it was coffee, these coffee capsules.
Oh, yes.
So we selected how many coffee pods, so how many coffee pods do we think we would go through in a month? And then he gave us a special discount if we put it on auto ship. So we thought, well, that's cool. We drink it anyway.
Yes.
We put it on auto ship and every single month, boom, in comes our coffee pods.
Yeah.
Now, the nice thing about it is you're not worried about running out of coffee. It comes in every month, but what's really cool for him is he's got that guaranteed order. He's got us engaged on an ongoing basis.
Sure. And then he introduces upsell strategies, which is another part of the retail strategy.
Exactly. Yeah. And some nice things that he does. Every single order, for example, that he sends out, he's got a handwritten note. The person who packs the order has got a little card and they write on that little card, so nice to have packed this order for you, Mary.
Yeah.
And that goes in there and every single person gets a handwritten card in their shipment. Yeah.
I mean, that's taking you back. That's taking you back quite a way because there's that disconnect with the customer. That's what's happening right now. Yes. So looking at ways, I mean, no one ever posts a letter anymore. They just send an email or they WhatsApp or they. Yeah. So do something that's quite valuable to the customer, that keeps them there, that promotes the loyalty. I mean, these are all part of the strategies.
Yeah, so what he said these cards printed with the face of the person who packed it.
Okay.
And when she's finished packing it, it's, hi, Mary here. Thank you so much. I really enjoyed packing your order. Thank you so much for placing your order with us. Whatever, little message, and they've got 20 or 30 messages that they just pull out. And in goes this card. It arrives. It's got Mary's face on it. There's Mary's little note. And an interesting thing, he said that before they started doing it, their shrinkage, in other words, the amount of people who were saying to him that they were underpacked, in other words, we'd promised to pack 2 glasses and we only packed 1.
Yes.
Was very high.
Yeah.
He said after they started putting the notes in with Mary's face, that disappeared completely because they put a face to the picker. And obviously, if somebody was saying that it didn't happen, that I didn't get my stuff, they knew that this person was going to be in trouble.
Yes, because the belief is, I guess, that machines are all doing this.
Yeah.
And they're packing and shipping this.
Yes.
And this arrives at my door. I don't know how it happened.
Exactly.
But now that Mary's sitting there with her face going, thank you so much for your order. It was a pleasure packing.
Exactly. So these are all the little e-commerce tricks that the guys use to engage their customer base.
Now, there's 2 parts about this. There's attracting the customer.
Acquisition of the customer, yeah.
The acquisition. And that's just getting someone, so attracting the customer, then acquiring the customer, that they become a buying person, and then the upsell. Now, there's strategies to
all of that stuff,
all those phases, and that's what retail is doing so well within this e-commerce space.
Well, once they've acquired the customer, so I don't think they being very effective in the acquisition of the customer because of the nature of the beast. They are in such a noisy environment. They're having to work extremely hard to acquire the customer. The successful companies, what they're doing well is once they've acquired the customer, they're turning those customers into ongoing buying customers, upselling them and engaging them on a regular basis. So that's what they're really doing well. And I think this is bringing it now around to the MLM space. I think this is where MLM comes into play and where it's so incredibly powerful. Because what you have with MLM is you've got the most coveted method of communicating with your product identity, which is word of mouth.
Yep.
And it's paid for. So every single one of your MLM agents is trained, highly trained, on how to talk about the product to people and how to get them engaged with the product and to teach them about the product and to let them know all the high points of the product. So if you've trained your MLM team properly, when they speak to somebody about the product, they educate that person and get them to a point where the person actually believes that this is a really great product.
Yes.
The next step is, of course, and this is where most MLM companies fail, is the next step is to get that person to register on the website as a customer. Okay. So let's say I come to you and I tell you all about the product. Now, traditional MLM says, okay, you want to buy the product. I buy the product from the company at a discount and I sell it to you at full retail, and the difference is a profit. So I buy it for $80, I sell it to you for $100, and I make a $20 profit.
Yep.
Okay? And so on average, the statistics on average say that you've got 30,000 people in the network. On average, they're doing a $50 sale per customer.
Yes.
The average is $1,250 per agent in sales per month on average, which means that your average agent has got around about 25 customers.
Yes.
Now, you can have some agents have 100 customers and another agent has none, but the average is 25 customers per agent. Now, if you've got an average of 30,000 agents, that means that you've got 750,000 customers out there.
That's great maths.
I know, you did it for me before we got started.
Well,
so
then
thank
well
you for
remembered.
that. So you got 750,000 customers who can buy from you. Now, where the problem comes in with traditional MLM is that when the agent leaves, you don't have access to his customer. Now, the agent comes in, he's got this great idea, he's going to build this massive business, and it's very exciting. And then over time, he realizes it's hard work, and eventually you discover he has a wishbone, but he's got no backbone, or she, and she leaves, or he leaves. Yes. Okay? And now the problem is the loss is massive, because not only do you lose the agent, but you lose the entire customer base. So that the idea here with the modern way of doing multi-level marketing is to say to yourself that, listen, we're an e-commerce business. That's what we actually are.
Yes.
The MLM play is we teach our people to educate their customers about our product. But the main thing is we incentivize the hell out of them to get their customers to register on the site. And there's a couple of things that we do here. First of all, we would offer specials that are only available to customers. So you might have a lost leader. Let's say we're selling a pair of glasses. They normally sell for $100. We're going to sell them for $10. Okay? There's no commission on the product, so it's a non-commissionable item. It's a lost leader. But if you're a customer, you can buy one of these items for $10. And by doing that, you get a hell of a deal as a customer. And of course, we acquire you as a customer on the system. Yes. You also have a positive experience because you pay your $10, we ship you the product, it arrives in your inbox, it gets delivered to you, and now you've got your product from us. So you've had a positive closed loop experience with us. You heard about the product is exceptional, you bought it, you got a massive discount, we delivered to you, you're happy with the end result.
And it's exceptional value for money.
It's exceptional, absolutely. So we've now acquired you in a very positive way. Now, for an e-commerce store to acquire you, they've got to put a bunch of money into advertising and marketing. They've got to try and convince you via YouTube and Facebook and videos and everything to buy the product. You then come and buy the product, and that experience is driven by a one-on-one relationship with your social media account, basically.
Yes.
With this, you've got an exponential component because I can have one agent speaking to 25 clients. And so if I've got 30,000 agents, I acquire 750,000 customers through that process. Okay, so that closed loop, now I've got you as you're a hot customer. You trust me.
Yes.
You've had this positive experience. We've created this relationship. Now I can bring to bear all of those retail processes that all of these companies are using so successfully. I can now upsell you.
Exactly.
I can tell you about the incredible cleaning equipment that we've got for these glasses you've just bought. And I can upsell you on that. I can actually get you involved in looking at other products that we have, special offers we have. I could even potentially tell you about our business opportunity and upgrade you to be one of our IBOs.
Yes.
So the opportunity here for me to interact with you becomes huge. The second thing is, of course, your agents. Your agents are reluctant to register their people onto the system because there's a general feeling that if they put their customers onto the company's software, that the company's going to steal their clients.
Sure.
And we've had this problem with some of our clients. They say, okay, I'm going to register you I'm going to register your customers on the system, but then you're going to get less commission.
Yeah.
And I say to them, guys, what are you doing? Why would you do that? Because who in their right mind is going to give their customers to the company to get less commission? I mean, that's just crazy. So generally what you do is you give each of the agent their own URL. And obviously it's not their own URL. It's companyname.com/Stuart or /12345. It's their dedicated URL, which identifies that any customer coming onto that link will automatically be theirs. You then tell your agents, listen, guys, if you sign your customers up, we're going to give you full retail commission as if your customers had bought from you personally. Now, why wouldn't you do that?
Of course not. Exactly.
It makes complete sense that you would do that. You'd want those customers to come on board. You want the agents to make money. As a matter of fact, they just signed up 25 people. All of their customers are buying directly online. They're making a bucket full of money. Now they say to themselves, wow, why don't I put 50 customers online or 100 or 200 or 500? So you really incentivize the agent to log their customers online. It takes the workload off their backs. Places obviously a workload on the company, but it doesn't matter because that's what the company does.
Exactly.
They fulfill the orders.
Yeah.
So those are the two things that I say to my clients, listen, you want to acquire the customer. That is the number one thing you want to do. Because if you lose all 30,000 agents, you've still got the 750,000 customers.
Yes.
Now, why wouldn't you want them? Obviously, you'd want them. The second thing is I say to them, listen, pay your guys the retail commission and upline commission as if they had bought the product and sold it on. Now, that brings up, sorry, I don't know if you've got any other sort of comments on this.
You've hijacked all the questions that I was going to ask.
Sorry about that.
And that's fine. I'm enjoying this.
The third thing that is critically important is because you've got an MLM team, 30,000 agents, you can convince your agents to spend some money on advertising. So what we've done on the Netready system is we've got a mechanism where the agent can come in and purchase the marketing pack. Now what that means is they contribute, let's say, to make it easy, let's say you've got 30,000 people. You're going to do some calculations here for me.
Let's use $10. Let's do something simple.
Okay, $10. So let's say each of the agents, 30,000 agents,
Yes.
each of them put $10 into the kitty. That means you got a $300,000 monthly budget.
Sure.
So if each of your agents are just contributing $10 to advertising.
And they do that through their back office?
No, they just go online, they buy the
products.
pack.
Okay, cool.
What you do, because you don't want the agents advertising on Facebook, because what happens if each agent is advertising on Facebook, now you've got everybody competing with each other and it just drives the price of the advertising up.
Yeah, not only that, but you don't control the message. You don't control the artwork.
Exactly.
And I know whoever's listening to this right now is going, these are the problems I'm having.
Exactly.
So if there's one controlled system that is running it, and they can just go into a back office and put in the $10 spend for the month, and someone else runs those ads, which you're going to get to now, it makes life a lot easier and more controllable.
So let's say you've got $300,000 per month. So the guys subscribe to the $10 payment, and you tell them why they're going to do it. They're going to do it because we're going to split all of the customer leads between you. They're going to do it because the brand awareness is going to go through the roof. They're going to do it because the brand credibility is going to go through the roof, and it's going to make it easier for them to sell and tell people about the product. They're going to do it because anybody who comes to the site is going to be remarketed by the company. And they're also going to do it because once the client is connected to them, no matter how they got there, that client is theirs forever. Because that connection, they're locked in. Even if the guy comes and clicks on somebody else's link and comes to buy, when he logs in, the system knows, listen, they belong to this guy, and when he buys, the commission will flow to that guy. So for every single person that the agent signs up into the system, they control that cash flow. The guy can't go to somebody else. They can't lose the customer. When the customer buys in the system, we know who's connected to. So that is a huge thing in terms of convincing the network to put their people on, because otherwise you're selling to Mary. I come along, I say to Mary, why don't you just register on the system? She says, excellent idea. She clicks on my link, she registers on the system. Where does the commission go? It's no longer going to you. It's now coming to me. You got to say, Mary, hey, listen, can I, sell you some more products? She says, don't worry about it. I'm buying online. You've just lost her as a customer.
Yeah.
So the idea is that everybody gets involved in the advertising and marketing. They get the customers to register, and now you've got the customers in the system. And so that acquisition of customers, in my opinion, is critical to the MLM space. And how else would you do it? Even if you just got 10,000 people, which is a tiny little network, 10,000 people each spend $10. You've got $100,000 you're spending every month. That's $1.2 million a year that you're spending on advertising. You can compete in the advertising arena. You can be right at the top of Google, top of Facebook. You can be top of mind wherever you put your money. Now you can also, we're talking about $300,000, but there's nothing to stop you saying, listen, guys, it's $30 a pop or $40 a pop. And suddenly you've got $1 million a month you can spend on advertising. So by leveraging your network to acquire the customers, you're leveraging their budget, you're leveraging their word of mouth, and by giving away a little bit, you're leveraging their ability to bring those customers on board.
Yes.
So the customer acquisition is what we're primarily talking about here, is so powerful in the MLM space.
Yes.
And it seems to me, that it's totally overlooked. We have one customer in the UK. I try to tell them about this, and no, it's too much like hard work. We don't want to ship all these little orders. We'd rather send in bulk to the agents.
Yeah.
But of course, they lost 2 or 3 of their big agents who had like thousands of customers, and in the process, they lost thousands.
A big part of their business.
A huge part of their business just evaporated into thin air. Yeah.
We talked about this, how you scale e-commerce earlier, and when we speak about multi-level marketing and how you enter into these new regions, let's for example, we're sitting in South Africa. Who do you know in Australia? And we will pick up and scale and duplicate that network.
Exactly.
And that, with that pooled fund of investments, will help an e-commerce platform then penetrate a new market with that spend.
Exactly right.
Because that's the pain point that these e-commerce stores are experiencing. You go into these global or new regions, but you don't have the spend to compete with people within the same space.
Well, exactly. If an e-commerce store wants to, for example, let's say the UK, which is a very dense, in terms of advertising and e-commerce, is very dense. Now, if you want to penetrate the UK, how do you do it as a traditional e-commerce store? Very, very difficult.
Yeah.
Even Netready, which has got very little competition in the world, even we have our spend in the UK is like 10 times higher than the spend in South Africa. So now you've got this massive ad spend in the UK. Now you're trying to penetrate that market. Very difficult.
Yeah.
Whereas exactly what you're saying, if you had 30,000 agents in South Africa, specifically in South Africa, and you said to them, who do you know in the UK? Well, everybody in South Africa knows somebody in the UK. And so when you launch in the UK, you launch from a base of 30,000 odd people who are wanting to become part of this. And it's part of a success story because it's successful here. People want to be part of that success story. And if those 30,000 people go out and sign up their 25 customers, suddenly you've got 750,000 customers in the UK. And the thing is, the question that you have to ask yourself is, how much did that cost you? How much money did you as a company spend on advertising? Well, what is the answer?
The retail commissions.
No, but
in terms of the spend of acquiring.
Spend of advertising to acquire the customer.
Because the network is spent.
It cost you nothing. What was your advertising spend of Facebook? Zero, because you are leveraging the budget of the agents. In terms of acquiring the 30,000 people, I mean, they come to you because they want to be they're looking for opportunity. They want to be part of that success story. In terms of the customers, well, they go out and they acquire the customers for you. So you go into a new area, it's just what you're talking about. You go into a new area, you leverage your existing network, you launch the new area, suddenly you got 30,000 people, suddenly you got 750,000 customers, the business is up and running. But now the magic kicks in because you've got 30,000 people in the UK, you've got another 30,000 people in South Africa. You say to them, listen, who do you know in Germany? Well, how quickly do you think Germany's out to the ground?
We've got 60,000 people in 2 regions.
Just like that.
60,000 people in Germany.
Exactly right. So the issue is, and this is where this whole thing comes in, once you've established yourself and you are successful in one region, then breaking out and developing a customer base in other regions is actually relatively simple. and it's relatively inexpensive. To do it as an e-commerce store is horrendously expensive. If you want to break into the US as an e-commerce store, incredibly expensive, very difficult. Whereas with an MLM play, everybody knows somebody. You know, once you've got the UK and Germany and France and Italy and Portugal and Spain all up and running, you go into your guys and say, we want to launch in the US. I promise you, between them, they know enough people to make you a hugely successful business in the US.
For sure.
You know, and then that brings it back to now, okay, so now let's apply the e-commerce side to this. Now you've got 750,000 clients in a small country like South Africa, or in the UK. You've got 750,000 customers. Now the idea is to utilize all of those retail strategies to take that customer from a one-off purchase to a regular buying customer on your system. Now, obviously, you got to have a value offering. You got to have a product that people want. You got to have products that people want to buy again and again. You've got to have great education around your products, which your agents are doing. But now you can talk to the person because you've got them on the system. They've purchased from you. They are a buying client. They've got a great relationship. Now you can talk to them. You can send them a coupon. You can send them an upsell. Hey, we saw you bought these 3 things. You really should think about buying that thing. You can send them special offers. You can send them new launches of new products. And then once you've established the trend with them, you can say, why don't you introduce people to the business? And if you're interested in introducing people to the business, click on this link and let me show you how you can actually get involved with us and help us introduce other customers. And the success breeds success. This is why this business is exponential. Is because as you start growing it, you get an S-curve on all of these businesses. Once you've got your first S-curve and you launch in a new area, you don't start from a zero base. You immediately start from a higher base and you get your next S-curve. And then you start from a higher base.
And again.
As you're going and as you roll out into new countries, absolutely.
So to summarize that, we use the network to acquire the customer, get them registered because of those benefits, and then traditional e-commerce kicks in for the upsell and the continuation of customer loyalty and continuous purchasing for those customers.
Absolutely. And so something that we're busy talking to some people about now, we know some specialists in the retail space, in the e-commerce retail space, and we are talking to them to bring them in here and to talk to us. We would like to interview them about the retail side of this. Exactly how do you go about getting those customers to be regular buying customers from you, to get that ongoing pull through in terms of their purchase behavior. So we are getting somebody there. And I'd like to just say that if there's anybody out there who actually does this for a living and who is interested in talking to us about how they go about helping companies use e-commerce to build their business, I mean, we'd love to talk to you and we'd love to have you in here in our studio to come and chat to us and, of course, our global client base and global followers to tell them about how to use e-commerce and the traditional retail mechanisms in e-commerce to make their business work.
Oh, that would be such an impactful interview. We'd love to have that.
Yeah, and of course, there's the guys you're talking to who do this kind of things. I'm looking forward to hearing back from them and seeing what they have to say.
In the end, what we're trying to create is this valuable content, this free content that anyone within the MLM space wants to consume. I think we're putting some really cool content out here.
Well, look,
we're helping a lot of people. And that's the intention of Netready.
And if there's somebody out there who does this for a living and who's credible, obviously we'll vet them. But if they're credible, and I mean, we'll advertise their business because our clients are looking for specialists to help them in the space. So we'd certainly be happy to advertise their business and get them involved here.
Richard, thank you so much. I really enjoyed that.
How long did that take, by the way?
I don't know. I mean, time flies when you're having fun. Guys, thank you so much. I'm going to look at this camera over here. Really enjoyed having you here. Thanks so much for your time. Richard, again, it was a pleasure interviewing you.
It was fun, eh?
What an awesome topic that we spoke about.
Yeah.
So important. For all this content, as well as all our future content and the previous content that we put on, you can go to MLM for CEOs, which is our affiliate website, information authority for multi-level marketing information. You can also find us on all our social channels. It's that of Netready MLM on Facebook, Netready MLM software on LinkedIn. We've got our Netready YouTube channel, which I'd love you to subscribe to. Trying to get to 1,000 followers.
Yeah, we can. YouTube will only let us live stream on YouTube if we've got 1,000 followers.
Yeah.
So we're really desperately trying to get 1,000 followers so that we can start live streaming this content. Yeah,
we will get there. I cannot wait. We've also got a Spotify channel for all of our podcasting stuff. Thanks again, Richard.
No, thank you very much.
Enjoy the day, guys. Thank you.
Okay, cheers.